Yeah, bro. Greetings. Oh, this is People's Station, right? This is my Bible. This is a Schofield reference. Schofield reference. Let me just show it to you. Schofield reference. This Bible is 40 years old and more. Ever since I joined 12 Tribe of Israel. As you can see, as I told you, I read this book 3 times. All right, this is page 2. You see the study, the marks of study, 3. All right, study footnotes, highlighting the footnotes. This is me here. See? So when people tell me about reading, you know what I mean, and study, yeah, look, just keep looking. Let's look, keep looking. I don't think they have anybody right now, you know. They're studying ganja. They're studying to dance, right? I studying to know everything that's worth knowing. I am studying everything that is worth knowing. See? Look, see? Everything. Studying everything. Everything. See? Watch. Everything I'm studying. Everything. Okay? Watch. I'm telling every page. Look, if you look at my fingers, I'm trying to get you every page. Every page. You don't want nothing with me. You don't want it. You don't want that study work with me. You don't want that work with me. You don't want that smoke. Huh? Look, every page. Everything. Every word has been pronounced. Even if I pronounce it wrong. Every word has been pronounced, even though if I pronounce it wrong. This is People's Station. I don't play. When I tell you something, it's got to be the truth. Let's keep on turning the pages, yo. Let's keep on turning. What chapter is this? Chapter 36 or something like that? It's kind of blurry right now. Right? Let's go. Look. Let's go. I'm still turning every page. I'm turning. Look. Every page they study. Marks of study. All to the top. Yeah? What is this one? Jehovah Jireh. This is when Jehovah Jireh is mentioned. You know? Yeah. Every page. Schofield reference. Yeah? Every page. I'm still turning. Look, you want to see? Don't ever tell me about go read. You go read. Look, you go read. Only know anything about study? Only know nothing about study, Jed. Only know nothing about study. Look here. Look, I'm still turning. I'm still turning. I'm still in Genesis. Look, I'm still turning. That's why if you come to debate me on Genesis, I'll stop you in Genesis. I could stop the rest of the Bible from Genesis. I'll debunk a lot of stuff right here in Genesis. You can't move on. You wouldn't be able to move on because it just does not add up. Okay, this is study. This is what you call study. See that? I'm still turning. Look, look my fingers. Look, I'm still turning. Look at my fingers. Still turning. Marks of study. Yeah, marks of study. You know? Marks of study. Still turning. I'm still turning. You understand what I'm saying? Exodus. Look at this. Exodus. Marks of study. Look at the little dog is here. Marks of study. And look, man, my hand's getting tired. Look, marks of study. Look, all down in Joshua, all down in Corinthians. All down in Corinthians, Deuteronomy. You're trying to read numbers. Look at all that. Look. Marks of study. Marks of study. The whole book. Look, the whole book. Look. The whole book, marks of study. Come on. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, man. Let me get some thing here. So, I don't know where to start from. They talk about Genesis and Moses wrote Genesis, right? Okay. Moses wrote Genesis. Okay. Let's deal with Genesis a little bit. Genesis said, it said, let us make man in our own image and likeness, right? A lot of people say there's one God, but this speaks in the plural form. Let us make man. Us is plural, right? Yeah. And our is plural. Own image and likeness. I would like somebody to explain that, because that's in Genesis, right? That's in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28. Right? I want someone to explain that. Let us make man in our own image and likeness. Alright? Somebody explain that to me. Alright? Let me give you another one. You got Psalm 82. God standeth. That's Psalm 82, you know, hear it. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods, plural. Psalm 82 says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods, G-O-D-S. It's there in your Bible. I'm not making up anything. That's Psalm 82. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. God judgeth among the gods. A lot of people say there's one God, but the Bible is saying something different. You get me? Alright? Alright, let me read this part here now. Now they said Moses wrote Genesis, right? Now, the book cannot come before the author. Right? The book's supposed to come with the author, not before the author. You understand what I'm saying? And let me tell you why, no man know nothing about no creation story. No guy, no body, no guy. Right? Let me tell you why. Even your Bible tells you that. Right? Even the Bible will tell you that. Look at Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. It says, He had made everything beautiful in His time. Also, He hath set the world in the heart, so that no man can find out God's work from the beginning to the end. No man can find out God's work from the beginning to the end. Let me read that over. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. He had made everything beautiful in His time. Also, He has set everything. He has set the world in their heart, so that no man, no Moses, nobody can find out the work of God, the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. So my question is, what is Genesis and what is Revelation? If no man can find out God's work from the beginning to the end, what is Genesis and what is Revelation? Who did that? Who did that? I'm saying though, who did that? Yeah, who did that? You understand? No man can find out the work of God from From the beginning to the from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22. No man can find that. Nobody could really know that. You know what I'm saying? So, who wrote Genesis? After all, I mean, they said that Moses wrote the first 5 books, but he was Egyptian. What language did he write to them? Moses spoke Egyptian. Yeah, Moses spoke Egyptian. He grew up in Egypt. It's only until after 40 years he realized that, according to the allegory, the story, only after 40 years he realized that he was an Israelite. And he killed a man, because he saw the soldiers of the Pharaoh, like smiting the Israelite. He killed one of Pharaoh's soldiers and hid him in the sand or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So Moses was a murderer, right? And Moses only found out that he was a descendant of the Israelite people when he was 40 years old. And he first had communication with the biblical God, according to the story, when he was about 80 years old. 80 years old, he went up into Mount Sinai. You know what I'm saying? And he received his first writing from God on 2 tablstones, and 10 commandments. And he died at 120 years old. But he never saw Canaan. And Canaan today is Jerusalem today, right? Canaan today is Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and all these places that we talk about today. You know what I'm saying? He never went into the promised land, which was Canaan. And Canaan is a place where they speak Hebrew. But Moses was an Egyptian. He speak Egyptian, right? So even if he had to write something, it could have never been written in Hebrew. Yet that they say the first 5 books were written in Hebrew. So I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I'm a regular person and I'm seeing all these things, all these mistakes, all these contradictions, and all this kind of stuff, and nobody not seeing it because they're not studying nothing. They're just cobbling up stuff like Pac-Man, I say, yeah, Pac-Man. You know what I'm saying? Let me move on. Galatians chapter 4, verse. Galatians chapter 4. I want you to check these chapters, yeah. Galatians chapter 4, verse. Chapter 4. Yeah, Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 24. Right? It says Abraham had 2 sons, one of a slave and one of a free woman. And the slave woman bore a child called Ishmael, and the woman was Sarah. They said by promise, and she bore a child called Isaac. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it says after that? It says after that in the same chapter, Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 24, says Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar is an allegory. In the same verse, it says that is an allegory. It's a story. Allegory means it's a myth. It's a story. It's not real. So it says Abraham had 2 sons, one a slave woman and one with a free woman. And the slave woman bore, the slave woman was Hagar, bore a child called Ishmael, and the free woman, which was Sarah, she bore Abraham a son called Isaac. Ishmael. Sarah bore Isaac. Yeah. So Sarah bore him Isaac, and then further on in that verse, it says that it's an allegory. So if Abraham and Isaac, right, is an allegory, that means Jacob is an allegory. If Jacob is an allegory, that means Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, Benjamin, Sister Dinah. That's all allegory. But the Bible, I didn't say it. Check it for yourself. Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 24 says that Abraham, the union of Abraham and Sarah is an allegory. And do you know something else? Sarah was his own sister. Sarah was his own sister. He had sex with his own sister and brought forth a child called called Isaac. Right? His own sister. What kind of dumb stuff is that? And nobody is saying nothing. Tell me, nobody is saying nothing about that. Is that holy? Is that what? Is it not incest? Is it not incest? Is it? I can't go with my own sister. No, I ain't going with my own sister. I don't have any sisters, but if I had a sister, I wouldn't be going with her. You got too many women out there for me to go with my sister. Abraham has sex his own sister. You know what I'm saying? Abraham sex his own sister. Look, man, I could make people cry, you know, because I can put it like this. I could say, okay, in the Rasta community, it says Selassie is God, and Empress Menen is his wife, right? Okay. So if Selassie is God, and Empress Menen is his wife, right? Though Empress Menen was married 3 times before she met Haile Selassie. Empress Menen was married 3 times before she met Haile Selassie. And when Haile Selassie met her, she already had 4 ready-made children. And Selassie gave her 6 more children. They had 10 in all. Right? So, me and you and the people around you right now are like children of God, right? So if Selassie is God, and Selassie came into a sexual union with Empress Menen, she is a child of God. So did God have sex with his own child? That's just food for thought. If Selassie is God, and Menen had 3 marriages before she met Haile Selassie, and met Haile Selassie with 4 ready-made children, and Haile Selassie went in onto her sexually and had 6 more children. And if the Rasta community say that Haile Selassie is a god and he's King of Kings and all these titles he took upon himself during his coronation, Lord of Lords and Judah and all this, Lion of Judah, power of the Trinity. By the way, the Trinity is a thing that was first heard of, or, it was plagiarized by Christianity. The first Trinity was Isis, Horus, and Set, thousands of years before Christianity. All right? That was Isis, Horus, and Set. Christians plagiarized everything and took the story and said Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But Isis, Horus, and Set represented Father, Son, and Mother. But when the Christians took it, they said it's a Father, Son, and a ghost. They always eliminate the woman. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? They always eliminate the woman. You know, in Africa, we used to venerate, give all the respects unto the woman, woman of civilization, we used to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the animals. When you see a duck, does the duck follow the drake? I mean, does those little ducks follow the male duck? No, they all behind the female duck. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the dog, anything. All the little puppies, everybody, they're just behind the female, That's how it is. Naturally, that's how it is. But get back to the point. Haile Selassie had sex with Empress Menen, right? And she was married 3 times before with 4 children, 4 ready-made children. And Rasta say that Haile Selassie is God, right? So if Haile Selassie is God, then you and me and that guy over there and that guy down the road and that guy up in the hill area and that woman over. So, you know what I'm saying? And we're children of God. So if Haile Selassie had sex with Empress Menen, he had sex with his child then. I don't know. It's funny, you know. And even though if he was a god, how come he didn't? How come he didn't have his when when he entered into this existence from birth and grew up and had to take a woman? How come he didn't take a virgin? How come did he take a woman that had 3 husbands before with 4 children? I tell you, Haile Selassie have a lot of belly because I not even doing that. If you have 1 child and all, I know you want, I want to have a woman like, I'm the man, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to know that, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm telling you. You know? Haile Selassie is mortal man, and he said that with his own mouth. He said he's not a god. He said that at Expo 67. All right? So in Galatians now, we're getting back to the point here. In Galatians, it said that Abraham, had 2 sons. One of a free woman who was Sarah, which was actually his sister. Crazy. His sister. He sexed his own sister and brought forth Isaac. And he went with a slave, Hagar, and brought forth Ishmael. Ishmael was the progenitor of the tents of Timah and the tents of Kedar. They said he's the progenitor of the Ishmaelites, which are the Muslims today. I don't know, because they already said in the same chapter 4 Galatians, that chapter 4 Galatians verse 22 to 24, that the union of Sarah, Hagar, and with Abraham is an allegory. That means that it's a story. Let's move on. You do your research for yourself. Let's go down a little bit. Let's go down from Abraham to Isaac, then Isaac, right? There are 2 in the womb that war against each other, but the elder shall serve the younger. The first came out was red and hairy, and the second that came out was that was Jacob, right? So the elder shall serve the younger. But the elder was a wild man in the fields. He go and kill and come back, and he loved to go and kill animals and eat it, And Jacob was, a man who sit down home and boil up some lentils or whatever, But one time the wild man, who is Esau, right? He didn't get any. He was really hungry. And he sold his birthright for some pottage, You know what I'm saying? And they had a little thing where, the father eyes got dim, and he wore some skins, and, Jacob received the blessing. It's a whole lot of antics, He got the blessing, and he got the blessing. All right, he got the blessing. Remember now that Esau was the progenitor of Edom, and the people of Edom used to live in the Caucasus Mountains. Generations of Esau lived in the Caucasus Mountains. People that we might call Cro-Magnon Neanderthals, cavemen. You know what I'm saying? You could read all about the children of Esau and Edom in the book of Obadiah. Obadiah is 1 chapter, and I think it has more chapters, but they give you 1 chapter. That 1 chapter is crushing. It crushed those Caucasian people, crushed them totally. You read the book of Obadiah, it crushes Caucasian people. It shows the differentiation between Caucasian people and the people of color. Yeah, it's a serious thing. It shows that, they're not godly. They're everything that is, unnatural. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Bible says. I didn't say that. You go read Obadiah for yourself. Don't blame me. Don't pin me down. Don't pin me down. Pin the tail of the honky. Pin the tail of the donkey. You know what I'm saying? Don't pin me down. I didn't say anything. I'm just relating what I read. I just show you. I read this book. I read this book here. This book is about over 40 years old. This is a Schofield reference. I read this 3 times and more. And more. I can say I read this 4 times. But I'll say 3 times because I didn't read everything the 4th time. But I've been through it through and really studying. But that's not only the book. If I carry you upstairs or in the back room there, I can show you a lot of books. I can show you the Aquarian Gospel. I don't know if you know about that. I can show you Lost Book of Eden. I can show you Karen Negus. I can show you the biography of Haile Selassie, part 1 and part 2. Somewhat. All these books, man, you know what I'm saying? And, I could show you the Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary. I could show you the old ancient Jerusalem Bible with all the words that say hath and it's written in Old English, I could show you all this stuff in the back there, I could even show you the first book that King James wrote that he came out with. He came out with a book called Demonology of the Bible. I bought that book in England, so King James was into demonology, yeah. So he came out with the King James Version in 1611, but before he wrote that, he wrote a book called Demonology of the Bible, and I have that book here. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that King James was a slave trader. They may not even know that he was also a homosexual. He had his mother beheaded. He got rid of his 2 wives, killed his 2 wives. Let me put it in a better format. Killed his 2 wives, had his mother beheaded, and he was a homosexual. This kind of people that giving you religious books. He had a lot of different people that, like a big community that, dealt with the translation or the version of the Bible. And if you were caught reading any other religious book in England in his time, they'll burn you at the stake or off with your head, you know what I'm saying? That's how serious it was. Yeah, it was real serious, yo. It was really serious. It was no joke thing. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of people, you know what I mean, realized then the only way to save their own life was to join in and do what the Bible says at that time. You had the Templars, you had the other people that used to kill you if they find you in some other form of worship other than Christianity. That's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. So people realize then, well, look, man, mothers will tell the children, look, you better worship Jesus or you get killed. And everybody was, it was forced upon the people. Most of the countries that, that accept Christianity, they are people that, were enslaved by the people that founded Christianity. And most of the people that Ishmael or Ishmaelites or Muslim today, well, most possibly the slaves of the Ishmaelites or the Muslim people. You know what I'm saying? As you well know, the Christian people, they were behind the slavery. The Pope, English, the people from Portugal and French, they were all behind slavery, enslaving African people. And they were all Catholics. They were all... Haile Selassie was educated from the age 6 by French Catholic missionaries. Haile Selassie was educated from the age 6 by French Catholic missionaries. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So he grew up to be a Christian. Right? He joined the Orthodox Church. The Orthodox Church started in Egypt. Well, when they invaded Egypt, they planted their flag, they planted the laws, they planted the government on the Ptolemy, Sota. That was after Alexander the Great in 333, you know, in 333 BC, in 333, right? And they also plant the religion there. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know that the first Christian church was the Hagia Sophia, and that was in Turkey, right? Yeah, the Hagia Sophia was the first Christian church ever built. That was in about 550 AD. The rock churches in Ethiopia was built like 700 years after the first Christian church in Turkey, which was the Hagia Sophia. The rock churches, Lalibela in Ethiopia, was built 700 years after these white Cro-Magnon Neanderthals built the church, because these are the people that started Christianity, right? It started in Rome, the whole Roman Empire we're talking about. That whole Roman European Empire, that was, the first Vatican was in Turkey. That was the first Vatican. That's how I see it, because the first Christian church was built there. The second Vatican is up in Rome. That's where they're at right now, in this time. So just get your history straight. Right? Remember, Ethiopia adopted Christianity. I'm trying to tell you guys that Ethiopia adopted Christianity in the 4th century. And the Greek Bible, with all the books in it, just like all the books is in Ethiopian Bible today, they got all that from the Greek Bible, right? And Ethiopia received the Bible and translated it from the Greek to Ge'ez, and it took them. Yeah, they finished it in Ge'ez when they translated over in the 8th century. They got it in the 5th century, but it was completed in the 8th century. Do your research. You doubt me? Go do your research. You'll see. Ethiopia has an old Bible, but it's not the oldest. They have a few Bibles that was much older than the Ethiopian Bible. I can tell you that the Greek Bible is one of them that's older than much older than, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because it's a serious thing, you know? Let's get into Judah. All right, let's go down to we leave Abraham now, because in Galatians chapter 4, verse 22 to 24, it says that Abraham had 2 women, one a free one, and his sister, which was Sarah, and with Sarah, he had Isaac, right? And with the bondwoman, which is the slave woman, he had Ishmael, right? So we're going down the line now. So we on to Isaac, then we on to Jacob and Esau. You know, Esau. You know what I mean? Who fought Jacob from in the womb. You know what I mean? Even when Esau was being born, he was still holding on to the heel of Jacob. He was still fighting coming out the womb. You know, so you got to know then that tells you everything. The white man, because Esau is really the red man. They don't really have a white man, but we call him the white man still, because we call the red man the white man. But when it gets very cold or the sun hits him, he turns red. He turns red, you know, so he's still the red man, you know. Like a melanin, you know. Yeah. So Jacob had 12 children: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Benjamin, and Dinah, the sister. Let's go to Judah. Judah now. Judah had 3 sons. He had Onan, and Shelah. Shelah, right? Onan, and Shelah. Now, God killed his first son. He said he was wicked in the sight of God. He just killed him just like that. He just say in the Bible, don't tell him why he killed him, you know. You know what I'm saying? Just kill him. He was wicked. And Onan, he died too. He had some problems with God too. He died too. But the thing about it is that his wife, which was Tamar, you know, she became like a widower, right? Like widow. She didn't have no husband. She couldn't just go out there and do anything just like that. But it came to pass when she started to play the harlot, you know. And Judah was, you know, like I don't know, he was desperate or something like that. And his son's wife, which was the widower, was playing the harlot. So, you know, the harlots in those times cover their face and wear thing, you know. Now, Judah, who's supposed to be the progenitor of King David and King Solomon, he went to the harlot and he wanted sex from her. And the harlot said, well, look, man, you know, I want certain amount of money and stuff like that. He said, well, here what, I give a goat, I give this, I give all kind of thing. He said, just give me some pum-pum right now. You know what I mean? He said, well, you have to give me some. She said, well, you have to give me something to hold. Because if you don't have the goat or the money or whatever right now, I have to give me something to hold, and then you could bring it. And I'll give you back your cord and your bracelets and stuff like that. He said, all right, here, look my bracelets, look my whatever, hold it. And I bring back the things to you. Just give me some pum-pum now. You get the pum-pum, but she never take off the thing off her face. She maybe just turn around and take the leg and, and just taking bracelets and, But it came to pass when Judah was sitting down with the rest of the, family of Jacob and stuff like that. And they brought his son's wife and said that they getting ready to stone her because she played the harlot, because she's pregnant and she wasn't supposed to go out there, and have sex with nobody. That was the laws at that time. She wasn't supposed to go out there and have no sex with nobody. She's pregnant now, and they were getting ready to stone her to death. And Judah said, yeah, go ahead and stone her to death because she playing the harlot. And she shouted out, the baby that I have in my belly right now, the father of this child in my belly are the owner of these bracelets and this cord and this stuff. And when Judah looked so, he realized then that is his own. And only then and there he realized then that he sexed his own son wife. You see? You see we see where I'm going? He sexed his own son wife, who is Tamar. That was Onan's. It's Onan, yeah, Onan's wife. Because Onan, I think that was Earth's first wife, I think he spilled it on the ground or something like that, and God tear him up for that, and then after it became Onan's wife. So Tamar was Onan's wife, and she played the harlot, and Judah went and take her little one, take her one, and get she pregnant. He burst in the woman, and get she pregnant, and they bring out in the yard, and say, look, we're going to stone this woman. We're going to stone this woman. We're going to kill her with stone. boss up she head and thing because she going out there and play the harlot. Look, she pregnant. Well, here what no. The woman do so and take out Judah bracelets and stuff and say the person that have me pregnant right now is the owner of these bracelets and the owner of these items. When Judah see the items, he realized this is. And you know what Judah said? This woman is better than me. And they didn't stone her down again. Alright? So the child that Tamar had, right, was called the child that Tamar had was called Perez. Okay? Yeah, the child was called Perez. That was the union between Judah, a son of Jacob, and Judah had sex with his own son's wife, Tamar, and they had a son called Perez. Wow. Everything going on like that. Everything going on real funny, you know. Sex with his own daughter, his own son's wife. Anyway, his son was Perez. And Perez is the progenitor. If you look at the lineage of Perez, you will see you have Boaz, Obed, Jesse, King David, King Solomon. And I think about 960 years after Solomon, you have Jesus, according to the lineage, the chronology. All right? So you had you had Boaz, Obed, Jesse, King David, Solomon. So, what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that Solomon and David's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother was a harlot. Wow. Tamar was a harlot. You see where I'm coming from now? You see where I'm coming? You see, people don't read and line up these things, you know? People don't read and line up the thing. The great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother of Solomon, King Solomon and David was a harlot. Her name was Tamar. Go back and read the story of Judah and the harlot, which was his son's wife. And you will see where Perez came from and where the lineage, you will see where the lineage through Perez, right? Where the lineage of King David and King Solomon came from Perez, which was, you know, the harlot's son, right? And remember, Judah had sex with a harlot, and that Perez was Judah's son. And then later on, through Boaz, Obed, Jesse, King David, King Solomon. So that shows you then that David and Solomon, great-great-great-great-great-grandmother, was a harlot. The Bible says so, not me. Don't blame me. Don't pin me up with anything. You can't blast me. That's in your book. That's in your book. You know what I'm saying? You want to hear another story? Let me give you another story. All right, where we reach? We reach King David and King Solomon. All right, David is on the veranda, looking and thinking. He had no binoculars, but he had good eyesight. But he looking over so and he see this beautiful woman bathing. You see, hey, who's that woman down over there? You see where? Look there, that bathing there, that woman real nice, boy. You see that is Uriah's wife. Her name is Bathsheba. He said, huh? Well, here what? You know we have a little war going on. Here what happening? Now where do so and take Uriah? I'll put him in front of the battle now. Then you get killed. So I could take your wife now. Bathsheba. That's the wicked kind of people that in the Bible, you know. The wicked people that they call patriarchs in the Bible. This is the people that's been exalted in the Bible, King David. Personally, I don't think they ever exist. I don't think that Solomon ever exists. I don't think that David ever exists. The books tell you that, right? If you could go and type and ask Google, you could ask GPT chat, you could ask, you know, the reality of these characters. They didn't really exist. They didn't really exist. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Paul, James, Timothy, you know, all these people never exist. It's a story. It's just a story. It's a playwright. And people take it so seriously. It's a playwright. You know? You know, so King David saw this woman and put her husband in front of the battle. And when he got killed, he take Bathsheba, and then he had Solomon. And the so-called queen of Sheba heard of the wisdom of Solomon. She left with this long trade of gold and diamonds and stuff from Ethiopia to test the skill of trade, to test Solomon with some kind of questions and things she had to ask. Because she heard of the wisdom of Solomon. And according to the Tabernacle, you know, when time to sleep, it was a virgin queen, right? That's what they say. She was a virgin queen, but she had a cow foot. She had a hoof. One foot was a real foot and the other foot was like a hoof. You know what I'm saying? So she always wear these long dresses and stuff covering the foot. The foot was hairy like a cow one. I don't know what kind of witchcraft is that. But anyway, she was really, really fair or beautiful to look on. You know, she was a beautiful woman. It's just she had a cow foot. You could find that in the Tabernacle. And you know, she had, you know, when time to come to sleep in the night, you know, she, you know, Solomon, you know, so she could sleep with Solomon in the same bed. But she tells Solomon, don't touch me, though. I'll sleep with you in the same bed, but don't touch me. He said, well, I won't touch you if you don't touch anything in my room while you're sleeping. Don't touch nothing in my room. But Solomon, during the day, when she ate the food that Solomon cooked, Solomon had the cooks make spicy food, right? And she ate her belly full and she enjoyed the food and everything. And she ate and drank and stuff like that. When time to sleep, Solomon said, you don't want me to have sex with you? She said, no. He said, well, okay, well, here what's up. I don't want you to touch anything in my room while we sleep here tonight. Otherwise, I will have sex with you. You know what I'm saying? Well, the spicy food made her very, very thirsty. But Solomon had a glass of water at the top of the bed or the edge of the bed and stuff. And she reached for the glass of water because the spicy food have her thirsty in the middle of the night. And when she reached for the water, Solomon hold her and said, I told you, don't touch anything, otherwise I'm going to have sex with you. And then he had sex with her. Now, that's just a story. That's just an allegory. Right? And then, you know, they had a child called Benelechem, who in Ethiopia was called Menelik I. And it went right down the line to Menelik II. And Menelik II had Ziditu, and she sat upon the throne, and she died. They said that she was poisoned, and some even said that Haile Selassie had her poisoned so he could sit up on the throne. But Haile Selassie was not of the royal lineage of the so-called Solomonic line from Menelik II, right? Haile Selassie was from a lineage from Ras Makonnen, who was from Amara, and his mother was a Moro. Right? Go and read properly. He was not of the line of David and Solomon, according to the Solomonic line, according to what the Kebranigas are saying, that the Solomonic line come from Menelik the first to Menelik the second, straight down the line. Right? They always want to say that Haile Selassie, 225th descendant of Solomonic dynasty. He was not. Go and read again. Go and read again. Go and type it up and see what they tell you. They tell you the truth. They don't tell you the truth in the books that they want you to, that they fabricated, like the Kebranigas. That's a fabricated book. Even the two biographies of Haile Selassie, that's a fabricated book. That was fabricated books. The Bible seemed to be a fabricated book too. Yeah, because if you have a God, that created the earth and the mountains and the grass and the trees, you know what I'm saying? You have a God that make the mountains and the grass and the trees and all this kind of stuff before the sun. You know that's a mistake that the God ain't gonna make. Because if you're talking photosynthesis, you're talking the germination of the seeds by the sun. And then the sun germinates the seed, and the seed grows into a plant, and then the plant grows and it can give you food, it will give you fruits, it give you leaves you can make your tea with, it can give you leaves that you can eat, it make fruits that you could eat. But the main thing from these trees that you see out here, it gives you oxygen. Now this God made the plant life on the third day, according to Genesis. And he made the sun on the fourth day. Right? So how are you going to make the plants and the trees and the herbs of the fields on the third day and then come and make the sun on the fourth day, when you damn well know that the grass and the herbs of the field and the trees, they need the sun to survive, to grow. And we need the grass to give us oxygen. Huh? Come on. These mistakes are not made by the Creator. These mistakes are only made by man. Because man write the books. God didn't write no books. Whoever wrote those books, you know what I mean? They're crazy. You know what I mean? They need to get one of them long needles to inject them mad people with. Because it's pure madness to create the grass before the sun. You know what I'm saying? And I want to big up General Seti from Detroit. You know what I mean? Because he is a person also did a lot of research and field research. Like he went to Egypt and he went to Ethiopia and stuff like that. I did some field research there too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, people look at me and feel like I never went to Africa and stuff. I did my field research. You know what I'm saying? And the things that I saw, man, it's when you come back in the West, you start to think different. Everything seems to be like a lie in front of you right now. Anything that is concerning religion and all that stuff and belief systems, everything is like a lie when you see where everything came from. And you see where everything came from, and everything here in the West, you see where everything here in the West was plagiarized from where everything came from. And it came from Egypt. It came from Egypt. It didn't even come from Ethiopia. It came from Egypt. That's right. It came from Egypt. Remember, the Ethiopian Bible was translated from the Greek. It was translated from the Greek to Geese. All right? Just remember that. All right? So, I really want to talk too much, but The Moses story is a long, it's not really long, but I think I've been through that a few times already, I think I've been through the flood a few times already. That flood is totally whacked. Because they say the flood was in 2344 before the cracker, before the Caucasoid, BC, right? Yeah. So that's the flood. And Noah's son was Ham, Shem, and Japheth. The sons of Ham was he had two. He had a son called Cush. He had a son called Mizraim. Mizraim was Egypt, and Cush was Ethiopia. So really and truly, when you really check it out, they didn't have an Ethiopia and an Egypt before Ham. See how dread it is? Right? They didn't have an Ethiopia and Egypt before Ham's son, which was Cush and Mizraim. And if you don't know the players in the Bible, you wouldn't be able to line it up like me. If you're just reading and you're thinking, well, look, man, this stuff is really, really coming from, this has been inspired by God and all this kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you're really reading with that, and you're not looking at it and doing your studies and checking out the dates and the times, the events, the peoples, and where they are geographically and all this stuff. You'll never, because you're suffering from paralysis of analysis. Yeah, because that's what's going on. You're suffering from paralysis of analysis. You're not even, you have a belief and you're not even studying what you believe in. You take it for granted that you know everything, that you write about what you studying, and you write about this and you write about that. Look, there's too much mistakes. I can show you about 50 different contradictions in that Bible, just off the top. Just off the top alone, I could show you about 50 different contradictions in that Bible. Yeah. Like Abraham seeing the face of God, seeing God face to face. And next month, they tell you in the Bible that no man has ever seen God face to face and live. And Jacob wrestling with God. Whole night he wrestling with God. So we have a man, Jacob, a normal man, wrestling with God all night. Come on, man. This story is no whack, You know what I'm saying? Even if I will debunk you, yeah, I'll debunk you. From Genesis 1, I could just debunk the whole Bible from Genesis 1. When you read Genesis 1, you don't even have to read the rest of the Bible. You know it's a lie. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry, man. Now, I love all my 12 tribe brethren and them, me and them really, really go up. You know what I mean? I love everything about the people, the individuals, but I'm just disgusted with how nobody's really studying what is really taking place in that book. And we're taking things like, and we're quoting and we quoting, and Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He make me lie and read pastures, make mistakes, the waters restore my soul. Even parts of righteous for his name's sake, and his foundation is on the mountains, Lord, over the gates of Zion, one all the place of Jacob was the day of God's seal. Glorious things are spoken of thee, was the day of God's seal. I make mention of Rab and Babylon to them, and know thee be fulfilled the state of Tyre, Ethiopia. This man was born there, and I said them sign that this man, that man was born there. I mean, I can call all that stuff. But if you're not reading, if you're not studying the book and knowing the dates and the times and stuff like that, you'll fall for the trick. It's a trap. It'll entrap you, it'll entrap your spirit, it'll entrap your mind. When you open the book now, you close your mind because it's a trap. Most of that stuff never happened. So I can debunk you in chapter 1. In I could debunk you in chapter 1 Genesis, the first chapter in Genesis. I could just shut you down right there and then. You know what I'm saying? Right there and then I'll shut you down. Right there and then. But I could still let you roll a little bit. I could still let you roll a little bit. Look, my son ringing me from foreign right now. Yeah, son ringing me from Jersey. Jersey him live. I called him back just now. I got to wrap up because thing. But I could debunk you. I could let you slide a little bit, and I could, toy with you until I reach the flood. You know what I mean? And Noah's children, and when all these so-called animals came out of Mount Ararat, and the generations of Noah. You know what's funny too? Before I go, after the flood, 466 years after the flood, Jacob and his family went down into Egypt, right? And Joseph was down in Egypt already because he was sold down into Egypt. But they had a little problem, they had a little famine and stuff, and Jacob and his family went down into Egypt. And you know how much people was in the family, the rest of the family? Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, and Jacob, and you know what the whole family was that went down into Egypt, Jacob's family? 77 people. So after 400 and something years, the whole family of Jacob was just 77 people. And they asked if they could stay in Egypt. And then they were allowed to stay in Egypt, but they was not allowed to stay in Egypt proper. He said, look, keep them goat herders out there in the land of Goshen. Right? Right, because 12 tribes were goat herders, Let them stay out there in Goshen. Boy. Well, it says that the 12 tribes, the Israelites, were slaves in Egypt. There's no record of that. And you need a whole lot more slaves to build those pyramids in Egypt than 77 people. Because you go in the Bible and you will see that Jacob went down with 77 people of his household. Only 77 people. 500, almost 500 years after the flood. I think they needed something to enhance their sperm or something. Yeah. 77 people after 500 years. Now 77 people cannot build the pyramids. It takes hundreds of thousands of pyramids and more than 20 years to build them pyramids. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because those blocks are tons. Every block you put there, tons. To put that straight up in the air, just to get the technology to build those monuments and do all those carvings and all that kind of stuff. That's many years, man. Let's say it took them about 50,000 years. Or let's say it took them 20,000 years then. It still kicks out the Genesis story out the door. Because the Genesis story only carries you back 6,000 years. Some say 4,000 years. Okay? And even if I say, well, I'll pass the flood and jump right into the New Testament, I'm going to meet up names like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, James, Peter, Paul, Timothy, and all those names are European names. All those names are English names and stuff. We Africans never had no names like John and James and Peter and Paul, Matthew, Peter, Paul, John, James, Timothy. You know, we never had those kind of names, mate. We don't have those kind of names there. Yeah, not in Africa. We ain't got those names, all right? You know, we got those names, yeah. You know what I mean? All right, so these books were written by a people. All these books, from Genesis to Revelation. You know what I'm saying? Because it said that the Piso family, go check it out. The Piso family wrote the New Testament. Who is the Piso family? Those are the same Flavians. Those are the same people of the Caesars. Those are all bloodline of Constantine and these people, you know what I'm saying? You have Nero, Caesar, Augustus, Julius, you know what I'm saying? Constantine, all these, you know what I'm saying? The Piso family are those that knew how to read and write, and they wrote this New Testament. And most of the New Testament is like letters to the New Testament. Check it out. Letters that going out to Thyatira, Philadelphia, Ephesus, and all these places. These are places right there in the Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? So most of the New Testament is about letters and stuff going out to the other Roman people in that Roman Empire in Europe and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna ring my son. He calling me. I don't know. I gotta know what's going on. I'm expecting, you know, a few things. So I don't know if you're trying to say, you know, it's on the way or something like that. But let's remember what I told you, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, James, Peter, Paul, Timothy, Bartholomew. Those are not African names. We have names like Gugu Gaga. Yeah, Gugu Gaga, Hannibal. You know, Shaka Zulu. You know what I mean? Yeah. Makanda Daga. You know what I mean? That kind of name there. You know what I mean? That's a real African name. We don't have them the kind of John, James, Peter. You know, that kind of crazy, kind of funny song in names too, you know, that kind of funny guy name. See? Yeah, man, you have African name. So, you know, that whole New Testament is not, you know, have nothing to deal with us. You know what I'm saying? Have nothing to deal with us at all, man. And the Old Testament, boy, them come and diss African people in the Old Testament, but you see, all they don't study. Let me make my last point when they diss African people and them write us out of history in a form. Let me tell you how it happened, right? Noah had Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? Noah become a drunkard. All these patriarchs have something with them, you know. They always drinking, they always sexing their own daughter. They always killing some man to take their wife. They always doing some kind of stupidness. These patriarchs in the Bible. Yeah, David killing a man, put a man in front of the bottle to get your own wife, kill off the man to get your wife. And then this same God in the Bible say, David is a man after his own heart. David is a man after his own heart. This is a crazy book. It's not showing you any goodness. In a little part in the book they say, slaves, obey your slave masters. Obey your earthly slave masters, just like you obey Christ. Yeah, that's in the Bible. Obey. The Bible actually condones slaves. Anyway, Noah, you know, Noah's son was Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And Noah become drunk and all this stuff. When you make up from the wine, the drunkenness, now you say, cursed be Canaan. But Canaan now is the offspring of Ham. So it's like cursing the whole Ham line there. You know what I'm saying? He said, cursed be Ham, he be a servant under Shem, Japheth, his brothers. He said he will enlarge the Japheth, which is Gog and Magog, which is Europeans, and he will, he said, blessed be the God of Shem. Through Shem you have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes. The kings are like King Solomon, David, and you have Jesus of that same line. Right? But the line that he cursed was the Hamitic line, and the Hamitic line is the African one. Right? Shem is Asia, Japheth is Europe, the Europeans, and Ham is the African man. Through Ham now you have the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Ammonites, all the ites. You know what I'm saying? You know? And those are names that they give us, you know, but we don't have no names like Perizzites, Girgashites, Ammonites, Philistines. We don't have no damn names like that. We have names like the Maasai, the Oromo, you know, the Zulu, you know. But they give us all these names. We are dread African tribes in Africa. We have so much tribes in the Bantu. We have so much African tribes. You know what I'm saying? You know, they come and give us all these funny kind of names, this item, that item, this item, Israelite and all kind of thing. And when you take out the Israeli, you know, and you check out these three gods that they put together, three African, three gods, Isis, Ra and El, Israel, Isis, Ra and El, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. Look at even Lot. Lot, come and sleep with the two daughters, Moab and Ammon. You know what I'm saying? After escaping that judgment they had down in Sodom and Gomorrah, all that is lies too, you know. After they escape all of that, you know, the father get drunk. Everybody just getting drunk in the Bible. All the patriarchs, all the big name people in the Bible, all of them just getting drunk for some reason. Even Jesus come and turn the rock into wine. You know what I mean? Like they just can't do it without getting drunk. Right? Yeah, so Lot get drunk and have sex with both daughters. Both daughters. Yeah, one had sex to me, come outside at the tent, he say, what? Daddy have it nice, you know. Want to take a lick, you know? Want to take a thing. She go on in and take a thing. So that was the progenitors of the Moabites and the Ammonites, you know? So, but Ham now was the progenitor of Mizraim and Cush, which is Ethiopia and Egypt, you know what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind. So when you say cursed, the descendants of Ham, which is Canaan, you're actually cursing Cush and Egypt and all these places, you know what I'm saying? You know, you're cursing the African man. And they come and big up the Asian and say, Shem, blessed be the God of Shem, and they big up the white man. He say, he will enlarge the Japheth, which is Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog is Europe. Yeah. All they ain't seen the players because they ain't reading. They ain't reading all of this. What are they doing? What are they really doing? You have me singing like a heretic. Right? Because when all they hear me, all they gonna say, oh, he this and he that, because they do it, all they ain't reading nothing. You see the state of my Bible, my book showing studying us. Every page underlined, highlighted, every word highlighted. That's the kind of study I do. This Bible I have here is more than 40 years old. Schofield reference. Yeah? Not to say it's a good one, you know, but I joined 12 tribe with this Bible here. I joined more than 40 years ago. All them fellas and them that playing big man in church, now I know them in their mother arms. I know them shitting in the pampas. You understand? All them fellas that playing big man now and DJ and all kind of thing. I know them little baby in the arms of their mother. You understand? And I'm still looking younger than all of them right now. All of them looking old already for the age. You understand? And you know we're going already. But anyway, here what me, you know. Alright? I gonna close off, you know, because I kinda speak out you know, like I'm not pleased with what's going on in the world and things. Right now I speak like that because I'm not pleased. Right? Because the African people has been brainwashed and been misled. You know what I mean? And they've taken a lot of stuff in the Bible as though it is real history. It's not real history. Solomon never existed. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, Solomon never existed. You know why? Because Adam and Eve never existed. David never existed because Adam and Eve never existed. The tools like Enoch, all these people they want to big up about Enoch write these books and that book. I have a book there saying that Enoch wrote 350 books, you know. But the last book of the Bible only have 2 books with Enoch. Huh? And these 2 books tell you about how this book's telling you it went into more depth of the creation story than Genesis. It tells you how God made blood from dew of the earth and how he made the bones from stone and the bones in a human being from stone and all this kind of thing. Oh, you read much more than me. Oh, you read more than me. Oh, you know, I'm telling you. I'm here saying I know everything, you know. Basically, little that I know all those books was written by mortal man. All them books have been fabricated and made up by people like Shakespeare, Sir Francis Bacon, a man called Erasmus, a man called William Tyndale, who was very much so part of the writing of the Genesis story. You know what I'm saying? You have people like Gutenberg and all these kind of people, my friend. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you even you don't even know that Shakespeare have his name in this Bible here. You don't even know in Psalms. I think it's Psalms 46. If you read 40 letters from the top and 40 letters from the bottom up, you will see Shakespeare. You don't even know that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things that, you know, there's a lot of codings in the Bible too that I really not here to talk about right now. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't even know ABC fathers for me to get into all these codings. You know? And they're not ready to really think either because they're eating things that stopping them from thinking. You know what I mean? Because if you're eating all the blood animals and stuff, your brain can't function properly. You know what I mean? It could function to a job that they program it to do. But anything outside of that job, you're not, you know, I mean, if you go and learn something, you learn like, this ruler here is a steel ruler, right? You learn this is a steel ruler. Well, this is what you know. You know this is a steel ruler. But you don't know that this is a scissors. You don't know that this is a comb. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about that. You just know about the steel ruler. Alright? That's all you know. And that's how people has been programmed today. You understand? This is how it is. I don't want to believe in anything. I want to know things. Most of the time I talk to people that talk about their beliefs, this and their beliefs. I don't want to hear what you believe. I want to hear what you know. I don't want to hear what you believe in. I want to hear what you know. You know what I'm saying? So, have a great night. I don't even know the time right now. But I'm going to get me some water, some spring water out there because I'm thirsty right now. I'm really thirsty. I'm sure you see milk in my lips. You know, I'm thirsty. And try and please eat the right things because right now it's getting dangerous. You know, if you know you're going out there, yeah, you gotta eat properly. Yeah, gotta eat the right foods. You can't put gas in a diesel engine, and you can't put diesel in a gas engine. And when you eat those dead animals, you know, you actually, you know, I mean, the blood of those animals have all the data of those animals. The blood of those animals have all the data of those animals. And when you eat these animals, you're eating the blood. No matter how much you drain out the blood, you still have a lot of blood that makes up the flesh. And when you pollute your blood with their blood, when you pollute your blood, you pollute your heart. When you pollute the heart, you pollute the brain. When you pollute the brain, you pollute the actions. You are what you eat, right? Anyway, I had enough. Have a great night. Have a great day. And the little chapters that I gave you in the beginning, just try and look through them. Try and look through them and find them and do your research for yourself. I don't want none of you people to believe what I say. Don't believe nothing I say. Research what I say.